and they tell you, be a narcissist. Like, and you have even, I think I mentioned it last time, you even have pretty respectable magazines such as Scientific American, I'm sorry, New Scientist, and they came up with a cover story: parents teach your children to be narcissists, in July 2016. So it has transitioned from the periphery into the mainstream. And now narcissism is bon ton. Narcissism guarantees success and accomplishments. Narcissism leads to self-efficacy. Narcissism, if you're not a narcissist, something's wrong with you. For example, if you're not selfish, you're altruistic, you're charitable, so either you are virtue signaling, you're being fake, or something's wrong with you because you should put yourself first. And so you need therapy. And so narcissism is permeating academia and literature. And now you have a whole class of respectable scholars who say that psychopathy and narcissism are the next stage in evolution, that high functioning narcissism and high functioning psychopathy is socially beneficial. It's a really, really bad thing. Narcissistic personality is not just about being an a-hole or a jerk. It's really bad out there. So, for example, the narcissist is unable to tell that other people are separate from him, that they're external, which is an utterly psychotic feature. Consequently, he treats other people as extensions or instruments or tools. You know, the narcissist imposes a fantasy defense on reality. He divorces reality and he supplants it. He replaces it with fantasy. That's okay, but then he tries to coerce you into fitting into this fantasy and affirming it. And if you refuse to confirm, to tell him that the fantasy is not fantasy, or if you refuse to play a role according to his fantasy script, you're penalized. He becomes aggressive, and it could escalate and end very badly. So these are two examples of how people around the narcissist are affected. I think if you're looking for a metaphor, the narcissist is a black hole. Now, I'm a physicist by training. I have a PhD in physics. So a black hole, you can't see a black hole. The only thing that comes out of a black hole is some kind of tenuous radiation, which is literally undetectable. Light cannot escape a black hole, so you can never see a black hole. But what do you see? How do you know there's a black hole out there? Because everything around the black hole misbehaves. Everyone around the black hole is in some kind of crazy making cycle. All kinds of stars and all kinds of galaxies and all kinds of everyone goes haywire around the black hole, and that tells you there's a black hole there. The narcissist is the same. Even if you are unable to diagnose someone with narcissism because you need tests and structured interviews and so on, still the reactions of people around the narcissist ought to tell you that something is wrong with this person, because he dysregulates other people. Narcissist, I'm saying he, it's a she. Half of all narcissists are women. Narcissists dysregulate other people. They they strip away the defenses that other people have built, lifetime of defenses, habits, everything breaks down. When the narcissist enters the scene, there's a collective meltdown, not only of individuals, but of institutions. There's an institutional meltdown. Everything melts down. And so there's this issue of being unable to recognize the externality and separateness of other people. It's known as an othering problem. Another issue, for example, which she alluded to, is that the narcissism is a disruption in the formation of a self. There's a problem. The self is not fully integrated, not fully formed. It's as if the narcissist is a kind of a kaleidoscope with all kinds of shards flying in space, and there's nothing coalesced. And these are the really, really bad narcissists. These are the narcissists with no boundaries, no inhibitions, no adherence to social mores and norms and rules, nothing. In short, these are psychopathic narcissists, actually. They're a bit psychopathic. And a portion of these, a percentage of these narcissists are known as malignant narcissists. And malignant narcissists are really dangerous because A malignant narcissist is a narcissist at the core, although there's no core, but you know what I mean. At the basis is a narcissist, the foundation. And on top of that, like a wedding cake, you have a psychopathic layer and a sadistic layer. It's a sadist. And so this is the gift that keeps giving. If you happen yourself to if you find yourself in the ambit or orbit of this kind of narcissism. So you can't reduce narcissism to 3 sentences in Scientific American. It's a hyper complex phenomenon. But yeah, if a child keeps getting told that he is the embodiment of munificence and magnificence, and especially if the child is denied access to reality. When you tell a child you can do no wrong, what you're telling the child is, don't listen to reality. Because reality pushes back. Reality is harsh. Reality keeps telling you, you are mistaken, or you're stupid, or you should, And so the parent is informing the child, don't listen to reality. Reality is wrong. You're always right. And so this is to cut the child off reality. That's why it's abusive. Pampering, spoiling, pedestalizing, idolizing. These are forms of abuse. They're not good parenting. These kind of parents are also usually overprotective. So they isolate the child from peer groups. They don't allow the child to be exposed to peers, or at least not meaningfully. Or at least not.
Homeschooling, would homeschooling come into that equation?
Yeah, homeschooling could come into this, or you're not allowed to play out, or I'm going to join you. So there are kinds of helicopter parents who kind of join the kid wherever the kid goes. They're there. Never give the kid alone time, especially not with peers. Chastise and castigate and attack other role models, such as teachers. So the teacher is always wrong. Teacher has some, hates the kid. She's envious of the kid, or she's, so they inject a streak of paranoid ideation. So this kind of child is totally thwarted and distorted. And it reminds me of Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo wrote a book, Notre Dame. And in this book, he describes a phenomenon which in the 19th century was quite prevalent, and they were known as compachikosi. Compachikosis were children who were abducted as babies by itinerants, gypsies, sorry for the word, and then the children were inserted into bottles, and they grew up inside the bottle, and they took on the shape of the bottle. And then they became circus freaks and circus attractions, and they made a lot of money for their owners, and so on. It was a real phenomenon, compachikosi. The child with an idealized object is this kind of child. It is put in a bottle of the parents' making, and it acquires the shape of the bottle. Now the parent projects onto this kind of child unfulfilled wishes, expectations, spoken and unspoken. The parent dictates the child's behavior, micromanages the child, and instrumentalizes the child. The child's role is to bring glory to the parent. The parent secures narcissistic supply vicariously through the child. And the child is penalized. So the child learns, penalized if he fails. So the child learns to link love with performance. And he has a perception of love as totally transactional. So it's a really effed up child at the very end of this cycle. And these kind of parents are as bad as parents who commit incest or physical abuse or whatever, even to some extent more pernicious. Because one of the reasons this kind of parenthood is a lot more threatening is because it's socially acceptable and even socially condoned. We have this education system where every child is amazing, every child is perfect, every child is the greatest talent since Einstein, if not earlier. No child can do wrong. There are consolation prizes for everyone. Everyone is a winner. No one is a loser, and so on. So the education system, especially I must say in the United States, isolates children from reality and embeds them in a fantasy bubble of their own grandeur, their own, this kind of education system fosters grandiosity is a cognitive distortion and collaborates in cahoots with parents who find this amazing, because every parent wants to believe that their children are, amazing and incredible, super intelligent, and I know what. So there's a collusion here, a collusion to create a fantastic space where the child would never ever find who he truly is, warts and all. So it's really bad out there, because this practice, as I said, is part and parcel in the fabric of modern society and modern education and modern parenting skills and modern everything. The parents are told, your children are sensitive, you should never berate them, you should never shout at them, and so on. I strongly disagree. I think these are all pedagogical tools. They're all educational tools that should be available to a parent. Suffering and pain and loss are the greatest engines of personal development. And if you deny them to the child, he will never develop. Once this child is out of the family, I don't know how to call it, nest, shall we say?
Bubble
or whatever, this kind of child is going to suffer disproportionately more than, well-constructed, well-constellated children.
So would you be recommending some kind of clinical intervention or some kind of therapeutic intervention, or just coaching parents?
Depends. First of all, it is extremely bad practice to diagnose narcissism, pathological narcissism, prior to age 21, and some authorities like Twenge and Campbell say 25. So we should, because the brain, for example, is not completed until age 25. Critical parts of the brain are missing until age 25, including major executive functions. Second thing is, grandiosity is a good, healthy thing in adolescence. Adolescents need to be grandiose in order to break away from the family and take on the world. You need to be seriously grandiose to think at age 14 that you can succeed in the world, or you can say goodbye to mommy and daddy.